Hi there guys, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. My name is James, and today we're going to go ahead and sit down and talk to you guys about our predictions for the upcoming League One season. Now, my club Reading are going to be in League One for the first time in over 20 years, and we're going to go ahead and preview the season now. Throughout this video, we're not going to do your bog standard 24th to first place finishes. What we're going to do is we're going to go through our biggest overachievers, our biggest underachievers, who we think will be promoted, fighting for the playoffs, and finally relegation. Now, if your team isn't included in this video, I do apologise. Obviously, I do predict then that you're going to be in mid-table obscurity. At least you're safe for another season. It may not be promotion, but at least you've got another year in the division. So to begin with, we're going to go ahead and talk about our biggest overachievers and who we think will do kind of unexpected things this year. And for me, that team this season is going to be Burton Albion. Now, over the summer, I really truly do believe Burton Albion have probably had the best recruitment out of any team in League One. With the additions of Mason Bennett and Cole Stockton, they're absolutely fantastic additions for their attack. Sam Hughes at the back will once again be looking to build on a successful season last year. At the end of the season last year, looking at Burton Albion's form, they only lost 3 out of their last 11 games, winning 5 in that period of time. With wins over Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley, I think the confidence is going to be running through the Burton Albion team after a successful period at the end of last season. Looking to continue that momentum will be manager Dino Maramia, who will want to continue to build his project, and I see them finishing high up in the table this year. Personally, I have them finishing just outside the playoffs or just inside. I really do think Burton Albion will be a shock team this year for many, and I see them doing very, very well. So after the biggest overachievers will come the biggest underachievers, and we've actually got 2 underachievers in this one. So to begin with, the first biggest underachiever we have is Exeter City. Now, I think that losing Jay Stansfield, Archie Collins, Josh Key and Giovanni Brown will be massive losses for Exeter this season. Arguably, you're talking about 4 key players in the first team last year. Obviously, Giovanni Brown didn't play in the second half of last season due to off-field allegations, but he was still a big part of the first half of the season. Rumours are as well that Sam Nom could be off as well in the summer transfer window. Could be an absolute disaster for Exeter. Now, Exeter do use their academy really well. And last year we saw a lot of playtime for Harry Kite. Could this be the time for him to step up and be the main man in the centre of midfield, as they've added experience with Tom Carroll alongside him? And could we see Harry Kite gaining a lot of knowledge from Tom Carroll in this off-season or during the season? I do see Exeter struggling though this year. Don't think they will be relegated, but I do believe they'll be in that relegation fight after successful really seasons over the last couple of years. Now, the other team that I have as the biggest underachiever for this season is, unfortunately, my club Reading. Listen, troubles off the pitch have caused absolute nightmares for Reading this season. New manager Ruben Selles said that he wanted at least 10 signings to come through the door when he was appointed. Did he get that? No. Only 4 signings have come through. Now, arguably, they are 4 good signings. Harvey Nibbs, Sam Smith, Lewis Wing and Charlie Savage have all come through the doors and are now on the books at Reading. Now, 2 of them 4 players, though, are not registered to play, with Lewis Wing and Charlie Savage currently not being able to play as Reading haven't paid their HMRC tax bill for July. Now, until that's paid, Reading will not be able to play or register them players. And it's really, really disappointing. I do think the first half of the season will be a struggle for Reading, and I do think in the second half of the season we'll see them come on strong. But I do think it'll be a little bit too late for Reading. I see a positive end to the season, but a real struggle to begin with. Now, we'll go ahead and move into our promoted sides and who I believe will go up this season. And first of all, the first team I've got for promotion is Bolton Wanderers. A very strong season last year, and they've continued that in pre-season this year. Adding the additions of Nathan Baxter in goal, I think, is very good for Bolton. Now, they did lose James Trafford, who went back to Man City after only being on loan last season. But I think Nathan Baxter is a very good replacement. Did well with Hull before his massive injury. Didn't really play too much last year, but I still think he is a quality goalkeeper if he's able to rekindle the form he had from a couple of seasons ago. Dan Nalundalu as well coming through the door, signing from Southampton. He's got experience in this league as well, playing for Cheltenham last season and scoring 6 goals in that time. Carlos Mendes has signed permanently as well from Luton, and I think that is a very good pickup as well. I see them building as well on last season, and I think they will continue to have another great season. Dion Charles will look to continue to score the goals as well. I saw him score 17 goals last season. And a pattern that I noticed as well under Ian Everett is that Bolton seem to keep climbing positions every single year. They finished 3rd originally in League 2, then mid-table finish, then they finished in the playoffs last year. And I do see them finishing in the promotion spots this year. They did lose experience with Elias Kuchunga leaving to go to Cambridge, but I don't really see that as matters with John Daddy Bodvarsson and Cameron Jerome being able to come off the bench should they need that experience. Another team that I see fighting for promotion, another team that I do see getting promoted this year is Derby County. After missing out on the playoffs last year, I think Derby are going to be absolutely raring to go this season and are not going to want to kind of stumble at any point. Additions of Connor Washington and Joe Ward, I think, are really smart signings, adding to Mendeslang and Barkhausen in that attacking department. I do see one more striker, though, coming through the door, and I do see that coming through, and I see Derby winning it all this season. Rumours of Martin Waghorn returning to the Rams. Conor Hourihane, Max Bird, Louis Sibley and Corey Smith are a fantastic midfield for League One, and adding Curtis Nelson and Sonny Bradley are good business too for their defence. After falling last year, I do see Derby winning promotion this season. Now the next topic is going to be fighting for the playoffs, and the first team I've got fighting for playoffs this season is Portsmouth. There's a lot of hype around John Mousinho's team this year. And I see 10 signings coming through the door, and I think they're finally going to escape League One. I see them making the playoffs this year with Abu Kamara signing from Norwich on loan. I see him really making the jump from youth football to first team football very well, and he'll be banging in the goals for Pompey. Another team fighting for playoffs this year will be Blackpool. Neil Critchley is back at the club and has already won promotion with Blackpool before. I think losing Jerry Yates and Josh Bowler is going to be a big blow, but I see Shane Lavery stepping up and scoring lots of goals this year for Critchley's side. Charlton are also going to be fighting for the playoffs this season. They've had a busy summer, and adding Alfie May up front will do nothing but good. Obviously, was massively successful for Cheltenham last year and arguably helped keep them up. They've strengthened where they need to strengthen too, and re-signing Michael Hector at this level as well is a very, very good bit of business. Finally, Barnsley are the last team we're going to focus in on, and despite them getting a new manager after Michael Duff left in the summer, I don't think it's going to matter too much. They've maintained a lot of their squad, and I think they've got a very good squad at that. Obviously losing in the playoff final last year to Sheffield Wednesday in literally the last kick of the game. I think Devontae Cole still being up front is good, and they'll be in and around the playoffs for most of the season. Now, other teams that I've got, and other teams I think will be around the playoffs, I've got Wickham, Peterborough, and Shrewsbury will all be sniffing around there too. Now, in terms of the relegated sides, now we'll move into that one, and the first team I've got going down is Cambridge United. I think losing Dimitar Mitov, Harvey Nibbs, Sam Smith and Lloyd Jones are big. Michael Morrison and Ryan Bennett are both experienced at the back, but being 35 and 33 now, they've got bags of experience, but it's whether or not their legs are going to go soon. I think they'll be tested quite a lot this season and back under the pressure for most games. They did re-sign a fan favourite in Kai coming back, but I don't think it's going to be enough, and I do see Cambridge going down after massively flirting with relegation last year. Now, the next team to go down is another team that has flirted with relegation previously, and that is Cheltenham Town. They do have a great defence, don't get me wrong, and I think retaining the services of Luke Southwood is absolutely fantastic and arguably the most underrated bit of business going this season. Adding as well experience of Curtis Davis to the back. The only issue is going forward for Cheltenham, in my opinion. Losing Alfie May and Dan Nalundalu are big blows, and no one scores goals in this Cheltenham side. So I see them going down purely based on the fact that they don't score goals. If they do get a goal scorer, potentially could be staying up, but I think it's going to be hard to replace the goals that they lost this summer. The next team, again, is a team that struggles for goals, and that's going to be Port Vale. Looking at relegation last year, they were able to stay up, but I think this year they are going to go down. Now, according to Transfer Market, the only senior striker in the side is Ellis Harrison. Personally, I don't believe that that's going to be enough for Port Vale to stay up this season, as is Ellis Harrison going to be a 25-30 goal a season striker, being the only man that's there? Personally, I'm going to say no. Finally, the last team that we've got to go down is Northampton Town. This one was a real struggle for me because it was between Northampton and Carlisle. But I picked Northampton just solely based off the kind of opinion that I don't know if their squad is good enough for League One. Sam Hoskins had a very, very strong year last year, and is that going to continue in League One this season? A lot of teams are going to know he's the danger man for them, and is he going to be someone that's going to be targeted this year? Mark Leonard on loan again is a great bit of business, but I don't think them two players alone are going to be enough to keep Northampton Town up. So unfortunately for Northampton fans, I do have you being relegated. Now, in terms of teams I also see fighting for relegation, I've got Carlisle, I've got Fleetwood, and I've got Wigan as well being in there. Obviously, previously we spoke about under and overachievers of Exeter and Burton. See them two in the playoffs and relegation fights as well. So that's going to be it for this video. Again, apologies if your team wasn't mentioned or included. I know teams like Fleetwood, Lincoln, Bristol Rovers weren't included in there. So apologies go out to each one of your teams. That's going to be it for this video though, guys. I hope you've all enjoyed my little preview and my predictions really of who I think is going to go up, down and have really under and overachieving seasons. Thanks for watching, guys. My name's been James and we'll see you all for another video coming very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.